What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Travis back with another video today. And today we have a very interesting video, a little scientific video, if you may. We are going to be back on Madden 22, so this will probably go up after the Face of the Franchise series. So hope you guys enjoyed that series. But we are back here on Madden 22, and we're doing a little experiment today. It's going to be a very interesting, a very fun experiment, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I will explain it more when we get into the video. I just want to kind of give y'all this intro. So if y'all like these little scientific experiments like this, let me know down in the comment section below if you liked it. Obviously, go ahead and like the video if you liked it as well. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Appreciate it if you do. Appreciate it if you stick around. Hit that bell icon so that way you don't miss another upload. So hopefully y'all can see some more videos like this if you enjoy it. Without further ado, let's see what this scientific experiment's all about. Let's do it. Alright guys, we are here in Madden. And you may be thinking to yourself as you look at the screen right now, Chris Paul. That is right, guys. We are here. We have put in a full team of NBA players into Madden 22, put them into a franchise. Let's see if they can win a chip. You know, maybe a little fun experiment. See what kind of stats they can put up throughout the season. See if they can hold up to the best of the best on the gridiron. And so I do need to explain something to you guys really quickly. I know these players aren't going to get onto the football field. I know they're not going to sit there and ball out. So as you look at these stats, as you look at the way I set it up, just know I know that if you realistically put them on the football field, their ratings wouldn't be this high. Okay, I just tried to implement what they did on the basketball court, and I tried my best to implement this into Madden to see how well they can do. So I understand, guys. Okay, I know this is not going to be as realistic as it should be, because realistically, like, Chris Paul goes onto the football field, he probably should be like like a 50 overall. Okay, like, I understand that, but this is just a fun little experiment just to mess around, see what we can do. So I'm good. This video is more of going to be like, I'm going to explain the roster. If we have some time at the end, I may go ahead and sim it. I may save that for another, for the next video, maybe. But if we have enough time, I'll put it all into one. But if not, I'll separate it. Just let y'all know that. So, because I want to go through, I want to explain to y'all exactly what I did, just so that way y'all understand my thought process of creating these players. And as we go through it, y'all might say, okay, yeah, you made it a little too OP. And okay, I guess I kind of understand that, okay? But there's a lot of athletic freaks in the NBA, and if I'm taking their athleticism and I'm putting them into the game, they're gonna be high overalls because their athleticism alone. So I just want y'all to know that. And obviously, as you can see, their awarenesses are high as well. So awareness does contribute a lot to overall as well. So we're gonna start off at quarterback. Okay, so let's go ahead and dump into this. We have Chris Paul as our starting QB, and I definitely wanted to think about a point guard, and who better than the point guard himself, Chris Paul. I wanted to think of a point guard who, because, you know, a lot of people compare the quarterback and the point guard position a lot. It just makes sense, you know. Point guards, they pass, they get assists, and well, in today's game, obviously in the NBA, I know there's centers out there that get assists all the time as well now. But traditionally, the point guard dishes the ball out, gets assists, and whatnot. So I definitely wanted to think of a good point guard to be our QB, and today I decided to go with Chris Paul. So I definitely wanted to think. And another thing I want y'all to realize as well is I took a lot of the players from their primes, and I kind of took their prime stats, because obviously, like, like some of these players aren't going to still be in their prime, so their athleticism is not at their peak. So a lot of these players are in their prime, so just want y'all to keep that in mind as well. So Chris Paul, I figured, one of the best point guards of all time, so it made sense. I got him in at a 91 speed. I didn't want to make him too fast, but it is very fast for a quarterback. And obviously his throwing stats are good because he's a point guard, and he's very good at passing. I mean, I'm not sure where he ranks all time in assists, but I know he's up there. So just kind of wanted to do that, so I settled on Chris Paul. There was a bunch of different options, but Chris Paul seemed like the best that I could think of in the moment. So our backup is John Stockton, okay, the all-time assist leader. Whether or not you want to give him credit for that or not, that's up to y'all, okay? I'm not gonna sit there and harp on it too much, but he is the all-time assist leader, and I believe he is also the all-time steal leader as well. Not a lot of people actually know that, but yeah. So we have John Stockton as our backup quarterback, and what I was kind of thinking was he could be our backup. So John Stockton's gonna be more of our pocket passer. So he's gonna stand in the pocket. He's gonna deliver dots. He does have an 83 speed though, so he is capable of moving. I think that's right around where Patrick Mahomes' speed is in this game. So John Stockton, definitely a very good option to come in off the bench as well. But there will be no injuries, so I don't know how much stats you're actually going to see from John Stockton. I may put him in a little bit during the season just to see what he could do. Or if y'all want to see me do a full season with John Stockton, a full season with Chris Paul, just to compare them, we can do that as well if y'all would like to see that. So the main guy we're going to focus on is Chris Paul for this series so far. So we're going to move on to running back now. All right, guys. So running back, there's definitely a lot of athletic freaks in the NBA. And I kind of just thought about who would fit that running back role. So obviously you think of small, fast guards of running backs, right? So we have one of the first people that came to my mind was De'Aaron Fox, arguably one of the fastest players in the NBA today, and obviously arguably one of the fastest players in NBA history. On the court, gets up the court in seconds, like even in a second almost. So I thought of De'Aaron Fox, and I kind of, the way I made De'Aaron Fox, he's got kind of gonna be like if you guys watch a lot of football, he's gonna be kind of like a Raheem Mostert for the 49ers without the injury problem, but he's gonna be that speedy running back. So if he finds the hole, he hits that hole and he's gone. So we're looking at him to make a lot of 20+ yard runs this year. We're looking at him to see if he can bust a lot of big yard touchdowns, hopefully. That's kind of what I made him to be. So De'Aaron Fox would be our starting running back, and as you can see, the backup, another guy, arguably the fastest, arguably one of the other fastest players in NBA history, John Wall, just blazing up the court when he was with the Wizards, and a very, very exciting player to watch on the court, and I'm very excited to see how this works out as well. So John Wall, he's going to be more of a receiving back, okay, and so he's going to be our third down back as well as a receiving back. So I'm going to let y'all know now that we have a pretty good rotation in with our running backs. So John Wall, obviously, like I said, he's coming in on the pass. He's coming in on all passing plays. He is coming in on third down, obviously, because he is our third down back. Because he is so good at receiving, he's better at receiving than De'Aaron Fox, obviously. And so he will be in on those plays. De'Aaron Fox will be in on the run plays. And this guy will be in on short yardage situations and goal line situations. And that will be our fullback, Mr. Nate Robinson. Okay, so Nate Robinson, I believe, obviously played football in high school. a very talented football player, as they say, as I hear anyways. He was a very talented football player as well in high school. Actually, I think tried to try out for the NFL later on in his basketball career. Tried out for or I've tried out for the Seahawks, maybe, if I got that right, hopefully. But I had Nate Robinson as a third running back, but I couldn't really think of anybody to play fullback other than, like, if I went in there and I typed up like biggest players in the NBA, and there was this guard, Michael Sweetney. He was a big guard. He was like 280 or something like that. So it was easy to do that, but nobody really knows him, right? So I wanted to put somebody that people know. Nate Robinson has a football background, and I kind of made him like a little bowling ball. So he's going to have power, and he obviously has quickness. So I had to put Nate Robinson at the fullback. It just made sense. And so yeah, that's kind of where I was thinking on that. So he'll be our power back, obviously, on the depth chart, and he will be in on those power runs, those short yardage situations, and the goal line situations. When you need that 1 or 2 yards, he will be in for that. So I'll be definitely looking at the end of the season at his stats, because if we like move up to the goal line, he probably will have a lot of touchdowns this year, unless De'Aaron Fox or one of our receivers gets a big play or something like that for a touchdown. So definitely looking at him to see what he goes. But another thing I want to let y'all know as well, guys, the faces. I know the faces aren't going to be like, some of them don't even look like them. Okay, faces aren't really important in this simulation. Okay, so I want y'all to know that going forward. So please don't flame me on that. I know they don't look like them, but it was the best I could do with these generic faces that Madden gives me. So just had to let y'all know. So we're going to be moving on to receiver. And before we can move on to receiver, I do, like, obviously y'all see Chris Paul, one of the X factors. Everybody has superstar except for my X factors, obviously. So I'll let y'all know each X factor as we go along. But everybody does have superstar, and they have abilities. So we may be able to go over that a little bit later, over the abilities, and I'll let y'all know when we get there. So Chris Paul obviously has one of our X factors, and we'll move on to receiver, because this guy does have he is our second X factor on the offense, and that is Mr. Kobe Bryant. RIP Black Mamba, my favorite NBA player of all time. Obviously, very, very athletically gifted guard in NBA history. I mean, everybody should know Kobe. Very, very fun player to watch. But I know the college says Abilene Christian. Okay, I thought I put it on none, but I may have messed that up. So sorry about that. But so Kobe Bryant will be our number 1 receiver. Obviously, he comes in at a 99 overall. Like I said, ratings aren't going to be very realistic. Okay, but bear with me. Okay, so Kobe Bryant comes in, wide receiver number 1. I kind of tried to make him like a number 1, so he's very, very, like, really dominant almost out of overall his whole categories, like all of his categories, pretty high. So pretty much number 1, like maybe a Julio Jones, maybe like a Brandon Marshall type receiver. So very dominant. Obviously, he's going to use that 6'6" frame to get some 50-50 balls. And obviously, I got double me as his X factor, so that should come in handy as well. So kind of a no-brainer for me. Let me know what y'all think. So Russell Westbrook is coming in as our second receiver. I was thinking of Russell Westbrook at running back. I was thinking that because that also does make sense. But I thought of the running backs like De'Aaron Fox, John Wall, Nate Robinson. I thought of them, and I was like, well, they seem more like running backs to me. So let me go ahead and throw Russell Westbrook in at receiver. And so Russell Westbrook is going to be that receiver that you just get the ball to and he makes big plays happen. So kind of like an Odell Beckham. Kind of like that, where he can catch a slant and he can take it to the house. So that's kind of how I made Russell Westbrook, and he's obviously very athletic. So I put him in here, obviously with that athleticism, and talking about primes here. And so there you go. So we got Russell Westbrook at wide receiver number 2, and moving on to wide receiver number 3, and we have Allen Iverson. Okay, so another thing that I want to point out as well, because of Allen Iverson, y'all will see number 10, right? So I had to give Chris Paul number 3. I feel like that was only fair for Chris Paul. Allen Iverson actually wore number 10 in high school when he played football, because Allen Iverson was a very good football player as well in high school. So I gave Allen Iverson his high school football number, which is number 10. So coming in at obviously wide receiver number 3 at 91 overall, we have Allen Iverson. So I originally created Allen Iverson to be a return specialist because I knew he was going to be small and shifty and stuff like that, because that's what he was in the NBA. He was small, he was shifty, he had handles. Obviously, he broke a lot of people's ankles in the league and transcended the game to a whole nother level that inspired a lot of the play styles in today's NBA. So I had to put Allen Iverson in here. I created him more for the return game, like I said, but the athleticism does so much for the overall. So we have 98 speed, 99 excel, 99 agility, 99 change of direction. That does a lot for overall. So he actually does come in at the third receiver, and he will be running slot for us, just so he can try to burn that slot corner, go ahead and take it yard. Obviously, he's going to do what obviously I want Russell Westbrook to do as well, and that's make electric plays. So we'll be moving on to wide receiver number 4, and I knew I had to put him in here. Okay, y'all probably would have killed me if I didn't, but I kind of didn't really think, like, I kind of really didn't want him to, because as much as people say he would be a good receiver because he's, 6'10", 6'11", I don't see him transcending to the football field that well. I mean, we've seen him do like the flag football events and whatnot, but I don't think that can really showcase his talent on the football field that well when people are diving at your legs. And obviously he's tall, he's thin, so you got that. So, but I had to put him in here as a 4th receiver just in case the other 3 receivers get tired, have somebody to come in and replace them. So you have Kevin Durant, 6'10", obviously, a little bit slower than the rest, a little bit worse at route running because those tall, lanky legs. I can't really see them running routes too well, but he does have pretty good route running. So he's definitely going to get some burn this season. I don't know how much, but I did have to put him in there. So he's pretty much what I created him to be, is a red zone threat. And I mean, come on, he's 6'10". I mean, that's going to be a red zone threat all day, right? He's got to use that height advantage he's going to have. And so obviously he has 99 catching traffic. And so that's where I went from there. So we'll now be moving on to our tight end, and obviously our third X factor. So at tight end, I had to do it, right? I mean, have to. So we have LeBron James at tight end. One of the most physically gifted players in NBA history. I mean, still going strong at 37 years old. So a very physically gifted and physically imposing player in the NBA. So I had to put him at tight end. It was only right. People hear about him all the time. They hear the discussion. Can LeBron James play in the NFL? Could he have played in the NFL? Could he have not? Obviously, he was a great player in high school. So I had to put him at tight end. There's nothing really else left to say. I mean, he's got the speed. He's going to be your Darren Waller. He's going to be your Travis Kelce. He's going to be your George Kittle. Like, he's all of them wrapped into one. He's a dominant tight end. That's exactly what I want him to be, a dominant tight end. So what else can I say? We'll go ahead and move on from there. So he is our third X factor with the grab and smash X factor. and I'll show y'all the abilities later. So backing him up, we have J.R. Smith. Okay, J.R. Smith kind of just did it for the memes, but also when I looked it up, he actually was a very good receiver in high school. So I already had receivers, so I wanted to put him at tight end, and I did a little bit of practice with him, and there is a lot of 2 tight end sets that actually came out. So I'm interested to see what kind of stats J.R. Smith ends up with. I expect LeBron to have great stats, obviously, but J.R. Smith will probably get a little bit of burn. So obviously he has a 90 speed. I gave him a little nice 87 catch. He used to be able to catch lobs and stuff like that when he was younger, because he obviously was very athletic and a great dunker back in his prime, his heyday. So he has great speed for a tight end, and he does have good catching. So I'd be interested to see what he gets as well. So let's move on to the big guys, shall we? All right, moving on to the big boys. At left tackle, this is not a surprise to anybody. We had to go with the big diesel, Shaquille O'Neal. Probably the most dominant player in NBA history. I mean, the most dominant player in NBA history. He was so big. He was so athletic at 7'1", 325. Obviously, guys, the height limit is 7 foot. So if you see somebody that's supposed to be taller, just know that the cap is 7 foot. So we have Shaquille O'Neal here protecting Chris Paul's blind side, and yeah, should be a very dominant offensive lineman. He is really good at run block, as you can see, but he's more of a pass blocker. I need him to protect the blind side, but still good at run blocking as well. So definitely a good left tackle here. We move on to our left guard, and we have Mr. Eddie Curry. So Eddie Curry, I didn't do as much research as I probably should have on these players, but I'm trying to think back in my memory. But I believe Eddie Curry was a very high pick in the draft. I don't know if he was number 1, but he was a very high pick in the NBA draft when he came out, and he was obviously didn't live up to the hype, but he was a very decent player in the NBA, but he just didn't live up to the hype where he was drafted. So we have Eddie Curry here at left guard, and kind of the way I did it was the tackles are going to be my pass protectors, obviously, and then my inside guys are going to be more run blockers. So that's kind of how I made it on this team. So Eddie Curry, obviously known for his size as well in the NBA, had to put him in here at left guard. So we're going to move on to center now. And I don't know how many people are actually going to know him, but Mr. Big Country Reeves, Bryant Reeves, played for the Vancouver Grizzlies. Obviously another NBA player known for his size as well. But he does come in at 84 overall, so a little bit lower than the rest of the team. Obviously, as you can see, he's not even higher than the center we already have, but obviously we have Mr. Big Country Reeves in here, known for his size, and I just needed somebody just to stand up in the middle and just be able to hold his own. So that's kind of what I was looking for, and I believe Big Country Reeves, we have found it with him. So like I said, more of a run blocker, okay at pass block, should be able to hold it down there at the center. And in Madden, I don't think the center really matters as much. It's not. I know in real life, the center is one of the most underrated and most underappreciated position in all of football, really, because of the way they have to communicate with the other linemen and whatnot. So, but in Madden, centers aren't really that important. So I believe he will be able to hold it down pretty well for us at the center position, and throughout the franchise, he'll be able to progress as well. So he'll be able to go up in overall. So we'll be moving on to right guard, and that is R.I.P. Mr. Tractor Trailer. Obviously, another NBA player known for his size. I mean, they called him Tractor for a reason. So we have Mr. Tractor Trailer here at right guard. Had to pay homage to the man. I mean, 95 strength, better pass block than the other inside linemen, and obviously a beast run block. I need him in there. I need that right guard to open up gaps for De'Aaron Fox, Nate Robinson, John Wall, all the running backs. I need them to open up blocks. I need them to be able to hold the blocks for Chris Paul as he stands back to pass. So I had to put Tractor Trailer on here. And right tackle, the only other player that may have actually been able to, hold his own against Shaquille O'Neal. Who is it, you wonder? Mr. Yao Ming. So Yao Ming, obviously, great player. Transited the game for, foreigners all across the world wanting to play basketball. They look at Yao Ming and they're like, a dominant player when he was healthy. I mean, obviously he had a bunch of knee issues, but you're gonna have issues with your knees and stuff if you're that big. So we have Yao Ming here at right tackle to hold up the right side of the line. So I believe he will definitely be able to do that. So we have obviously 99s across the board for his blocking. Definitely a beast in both the pass block game and the run block game. Should be able to hold his own. So there goes the offense, and now we'll be moving on to the defense. All right, so we're now on the defense, and we have Blake Griffin. So the defense, you're gonna see a theme on the defense. Okay, you're gonna see athletic guys, you're gonna see scrappy guys, and for Blake Griffin, he was very athletic coming into the league. He had just about every single highlight posterization all over the internet when he was on the Clippers. So definitely a very athletic freak coming into the league. And so that's kind of what he is, man. I mean, he's going to be pretty much, finesse, block shed. He's going to be kind of like a run stuffer almost on the edge. I mean, he might be able to get some sacks. Oh, excuse me. He might be able to get some sacks with the finesse move, but obviously with that 96 jump, I hope he can get some swats maybe at the line, with some big plays like that on third down to be able to help us win some games. I definitely will hopefully see some sacks from him as well, but I definitely want him to help in the run stuff game. So we got him at left end. We move on to right end. This is our first X factor of the defense, actually. So let's see who it is. Ben Wallace. Undersized center in the NBA, but a very, very dominant defensive center. Very, very vital part in that 04 Pistons team to help win a championship. And very scrappy player, obviously. That's what I want on my defense. Very scrappy player. So I kind of felt like I needed to make him one of the stars of the defense. So he's going to be our all-around beast defensive player. So he's going to have the power, he's going to have the rushing to be able to get a lot of sacks. Obviously, he's going to have the block shedding for run stuffing. So he will definitely be a vital part in this defense, and hopefully we can see a lot of sacks from him at the end of the year. So it should be fun. So as you can see, I gave him that unstoppable force, X factor. Should be fun. Move on to the defensive tackles, and we have Mr. Zach Randolph, Mr. Zebo. And this guy was definitely under the radar for a long time in the NBA. I loved actually watching him play back for the Memphis Grizzlies. I loved watching him play. He was very scrappy under the board, under the basket. He was a great rebounder, a great touch under the rim. So that's the guy, exactly what I did. He did a lot of box outs, and he had to, swipe people out of the way, so he could get to the ball. So we have him at number 1 defensive tackle, and that's exactly what he is. I mean, he has 95 block shed, 92 finesse move, so should be able to be a great addition into the run stuffing game, and hopefully there will not be a lot of rush yards ran on us. So should be fun to see what his stats are as well. And then obviously second one we have Mr. Big Baby Davis, Glen Davis. Glen Davis, not obvious. I didn't mean to say obviously, but he actually did play football in high school, and if I remember reading it correctly, I think he was actually a defensive end. So had to give him a position on the line, and so I have him at defensive tackle number 2, and I believe we do run a 4-3, so he will be seeing a lot of time as well. So very, very happy to have Big Baby Davis on the team. So let's move on to our left outside linebacker, and that is Mr. Matt Barnes. So I could have very easily put Matt Barnes on offense because he actually was an All-American receiver in high school. So I very easily could have put him at receiver, but I kind of thought I needed the flashy people on offense because I want scrappy players on my defense. I want people who are going to be good tacklers and just look like they're going to be very scrappy players and really good players for my defense. So that's why I put Matt Barnes. He was definitely known for his defense in the NBA. Was not really known for putting up buckets, but he could. I mean, he was in the NBA, so but definitely known for his defense. Should never have ever tried to go after Kobe, but I'm sure he learned his lesson. But he does come in at an 89 overall. Very, very great linebacker. He's going to be a good tackler, and he's obviously going to be a good rusher if he ever wants to go off the edge as well. So we have him as an extra pass rusher if we ever need it. So definitely happy to have Matt Barnes on the team. And this right here is going to be our second X factor on the defense. And a guy that's actually been all over the storylines lately and hasn't played a game yet in this NBA season, but looking forward to seeing him come out and ball out. And that is Mr. Zion Williamson. Yes, the big bowling ball himself, Zion Williamson. I wanted to think of somebody that was physically imposing and would be able to really lay the boom on somebody. And Zion Williamson just came to mind. He'd be a great user if I ever actually played through a series on this. And if y'all want to see me play with this team, y'all let me know that as well. I mean, I can always play through a season or two with this team to show y'all a little bit of gameplay with them. But I definitely knew I wanted Zion Williamson here. Fast for a linebacker, great tackling, great hit power, obviously great jumping. So should be able to get a lot of picks as well. And I gave him that avalanche X factor, which is really OP. Force a fumble every time you get a hit stick going downhill. So definitely a very good player right here in Zion Williamson. As our middle linebacker number 1 and middle linebacker number 2, we have Draymond Green. So definitely has a lot of dirty plays in his career, but is a very scrappy defensive player for the Warriors. Very vital part in the many championships that they did win. Very vital key part in that. And so I definitely wanted him on the defense because of his tenacity and his scrappiness. And I just thought he'd be good. So, I mean, he might be able to, I think I gave him strip ball. So he might be able to get in there, force some strips, force some turnovers for us maybe when he comes in. I don't know how much he's actually going to get in, but if he does get in, he'll be a good backup for us. So we have Draymond Green, middle linebacker number 2. So we'll be moving on to right outside linebacker, Danny Green. And obviously Danny Green, a veteran in today's league. I definitely know he's known as a 3-and-D. He's a 3-and-D guy. I mean, that's what he does. He shoots threes, plays defense very well. And so we have him here at right outside linebacker because I was just thinking, I was like, well, I have the extra Russian linebacker in Matt Barnes, and I kind of needed a cover linebacker. So I was like, Danny Green sounds good. So let's do Danny Green. He's a great defensive player in the NBA. So he's got great speed for a linebacker. Obviously, he's a little bit thinner. He's not as stocky as other players. So great cover linebacker, decent tackling, great play rate, great awareness. Obviously, doesn't really have any, rush moves or anything like that, but great defense because that's what he's known for. He's known for his defense and his three ball in the NBA. So I kind of feel like this made a lot of sense for him at right outside linebacker. So should be a great addition, a great part of this team. So we will be moving. I'm gonna come back to cornerback because I know that's going to be a very fun position for y'all to look at. But I will come back to cornerback. But free safety, Mr. Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, everybody knows, a very scrappy guy. I mean, he clawed his way for everything he had. I mean, it started at a very, very, very low college, worked his way into Marquette. Obviously, he has stories of, I think, living on the streets and whatnot. I mean, he didn't have a lot. He didn't have much at all. So had to scrap his way into a very, very low-end college. Then he worked his way into Marquette. Then got drafted by the Bulls and obviously made a name for himself. Derrick Rose was having injury problems, came into the league, great defensive player, and ended up becoming who is now known as Jimmy Buckets. I mean, now he gets buckets and straps up. So had to put him on the defense somewhere, and it's going to be as a free safety. So I kind of made him, I guess you could think of him like a taller Ed Reed. He doesn't have the greatest hit power, but he has pretty good tackling, and obviously he has the great coverage. So he could be a taller Ed Reed or maybe a taller Earl Thomas type player. I was kind of thinking along those lines. So definitely excited to see what Jimmy Butler does for us. So moving on to his backup, and that will be Patrick Beverly. I had to put him in here for the memes. Okay, he very scrappy player. I don't think I could get any number for him, so I just gave him a random high number, number 72. So he one of the most scrappy. You could definitely call him scrappy. You could call him dirty. You could call him whatever you want to call him, but seems like a very, very easy selection to be on our defense here. And so he's going to be a good tackler. I think he has strip ball as well, so he's going to be able to reach into those pockets just like he does on the basketball court. Try to get that ball away from him. Hopefully get some very, very important turnovers. If he ever does come in the game, that is. If he comes in, at least we have him as another safety. So moving on to strong safety, we have Tony Allen. And if you guys don't remember Tony Allen, he was a heck of a defensive player in the league. And, well, a no-brainer to go on this defense. So we have Tony Allen here coming in at a 93 overall. Really good speed, really good agility and everything, because he had to go back and forth on that. Make sure he does his defensive slides on the court so that way he can lock them up. Great coverage, great press, everything like that. And obviously our strong safety has to be a guy who could lay the boom. And I know Jimmy Butler could obviously lay the boom if he wanted to, but Tony Allen just seems like the right pick here as strong safety. So can lay the boom, can play coverage, all of that good stuff. So obviously everybody's important, but another very important part of this team, Tony Allen. So now we're going to be moving on to kicker. And to a lot of people, this will make sense. But Mr. Steve Nash. So Steve Nash obviously could have played quarterback as well. I know. But we all know he grew up playing soccer. We know he loves playing soccer. And so I feel like it was an obvious choice here at kicker. There was another guy I had at kicker because Steve Nash was actually my punter at first, and then I had somebody else at kicker. And then I ended up switching them back because the punter is not going to have that much play time on anyway. We won't see him a lot. because our offense is probably going to score a lot. So I definitely wanted to see Steve Nash on the field a lot more. So we have him at kicker. So Steve Nash comes in, and I kind of, the way I did, because I know this is going to be one of the main things y'all kill me about is the kicker. So I did max them out. I maxed them both out, 99.99. Okay, I didn't want them to really cause, games or something. Because if Steve Nash came in, he'd be like like a 50 kick power and like a 30 kick accuracy. Okay, I know that. All right, but I wanted to just have a name on the kickers, and I didn't really want them to, change the outcome of a game or something like that. So I just maxed them out, 99.99. And so very interested to see how his season goes as a kicker. And then we'll be moving on to punter, and that is Mr. Daryl Armstrong. Yes, Daryl Armstrong actually was a kicker, believe it or not, in high school. I was surprised when I seen that as well. Daryl Armstrong, not a prevalent name, not a very very known name from NBA history, but if you do know, you know. But interesting enough, looked it up, was actually a kicker on his high school team. So I did have him at kicker at first, but like I said, I wanted Steve Nash on the field more. So I ended up switching him, and I believe Daryl Armstrong, the stats won't show, but I think he does have a little bit of throwing stats. So if we wanted to throw in a fake punt every now and then, we could actually do that. So definitely got Daryl Armstrong here, and now we will be going back to our cornerbacks, a position I'm sure y'all all want to see. So who's cornerback number one? Let me know down in the comments who you think cornerback number one is, okay? Who do y'all think? This is our third X Factor. So we had Ben Wallace as an X Factor. We had Zion Williamson as an X Factor. And our number one corner with our third and final X Factor on the team. Did y'all type it already? Yes. MJ. Michael Jordan. Shouldn't come to a surprise as anybody, honestly. I could have very easily put Michael Jordan on the offensive side of the ball. I know he could have played receiver. He's got massive hands, right? But I felt like he was definitely destined to be a cornerback on this team. Had the clamps back in the day, as well as obviously getting buckets. So he's our third and final X Factor on our defense. And yeah, I mean, there's not much I can say. He's the second half. He's the other half of the GOAT conversation. I mean, it's him or LeBron James. So, I mean, what can I say? He's an all-around player, man. He straps up. He's got decent speed. 99 man, 95 zone, 99 press, 90 catch. I mean, he's got it all, man. He's got it all. He's got a 94 speed, so he'll be able to keep up with most receivers. He'll be able to strap up. He'll probably be able to strap up Tyreek Hill, honestly. He's the overall dominant corner. So, yeah, so it seemed like a no-brainer. And then obviously number two, we had to go with his longtime teammate, Scottie Pippen. And it's actually ironic at this time because a lot of things are coming out about Scottie Pippen going back at Jordan. So Jordan and Pippen are kind of going at it. Pippen is feeling a little salty about the way he was portrayed in The Last Dance and whatnot. So, but I made this team before all this happened. So we have Scottie Pippen in here as our second cornerback. They were teammates for a long time. Obviously won the 6 championships together, and they both had clamps. And if you don't believe me, you can go watch Tony Kukoc talk about it. So both of them had the clamps. So we have Scottie Pippen here as our second cornerback. And yeah, so move on to number 3. We have Mr. Kawhi Leonard. Another player kind of like Jimmy Butler. Came into the league and really known for his defense, and then ended up, when he got more PT and practiced on his game more, started getting buckets. So Very happy to see that. Unfortunately, Kawhi is injured for this season. I don't know if he'll be back for the season, but he is injured. But he is going to play a prevalent role on our defense. So, and interesting enough, I did practice a little bit with this team, and Kawhi Leonard was actually the one that had the most picks. So I don't know if that was just where the quarterbacks were throwing the ball or what, but Kawhi Leonard was actually the one that ended up with the most picks. Now, it could be, they just didn't want to throw to Jordan's side, But funny enough, Kawhi Leonard did actually get the most picks in the couple of little practice runs that I ran with this team. And then number 4, just in case we run some nickel or whatever, just in case we need an extra corner on the field, Mr. Gary Payton, the glove. Obviously known for his defense. I mean, known for his defense, and yeah, so that's what I gave him. I mean, good speed, good agility, good excel, good press. Obviously, he was in that hand checking era, so gotta give him some good press. Good man, good zone, and as you can see here, with the man coverages, we have 99 man. 98 man, 97, 95. They kind of just went down as he went down the depth chart. And yeah. So that is pretty much the team. Let me know if y'all would have did anything. Let me know if y'all would have did anything different down in the comment section. Okay, I know some of y'all are probably gonna blow up the comment section and in retaliation to some of these things. But I tried to be as realistic as, well, I guess not as realistic as possible, but I tried to implement these guys into the NFL universe as easily as I could. Like I said, I know these players aren't going to just go onto a football field and just dominate like this. Okay, I understand that. But I wanted to almost view it as if what would have happened if they would have focused on football alone. I mean, what would have happened if AI would have stuck to football, right? Like, what would have happened if some of these guys would have stuck to football? What would have happened if they made it to the NFL? I mean, Nate Robinson, Allen Iverson, Matt Barnes, J.R. Smith, like guys like that. So a lot of players on this team obviously has a football background, so it's going to be interesting to see what this team does. But before we go, I will show y'all the abilities. So I will be back. All right, guys. So you're going to see some 49ers players because that's the first game of the year. So this is probably the easiest way I can think of showing y'all the abilities. So our X factors, obviously we have Kobe. He has double me, wide receiver apprentice, and route technician. Very self-explanatory, honestly. And if y'all want to read them a little bit more, y'all can always pause the video as well. I'll give y'all a little bit of time to do that. But we're moving on to LeBron James. He has grab and smash, arm bar, and route technician. Obviously a very physical player. Had to make him physical as well on the football field. So Michael Jordan, we have universal coverage, acrobat, one step ahead, clamp city, all the way. Zion Williamson, we have avalanche. Obviously, like I said, he has enforcer and secure tackler. So he will be getting a guaranteed hit stick, and when he has X factor, he will get a guaranteed fumble. And he has secure tackler as well, so he shouldn't miss any tacklers. And I didn't give him lurker or anything like that. I mean, he's tall and he can jump, so hopefully he'll be able to be okay with getting picks by himself. Ben Wallace, he has unstoppable force. He has no outsiders and edge threat. So no outsiders. Obviously, I want to stop those outside runs. Don't need anybody breaking some big runs. So definitely had to give him that for sure. Chris Paul, he has running gun, X factor. He has gunslinger, quick draw, roaming dead eye, no look dead eye, and escape artist. So these are kind of like the things that I probably would see the most make the most sense on Chris Paul. I was gonna give him dashing deadeye as well, but I figured if he has running gun as an X factor, and if he can get that equipped, then escape artist, he can have escape artist and then running gun as well, because running gun is pretty much dashing deadeye as well. So yeah, so those are all the X factors, and then we'll move on to the superstars. So Yao Ming has secure protector, edge protector. John Stockton has quick draw, pocket deadeye. So whenever he comes in, obviously he's our pocket passer. Shaquille O'Neal has secure protector, edge protector, as well as Yao Ming. De'Aaron Fox has balance beam and evasive. So obviously he's a very quick, very fast running back. So he's gonna have good spin, good juke. He has good handles in the NBA, so good spin, good juke, and balance beam. Don't need him stumbling on any runs. Scottie Pippen, he has on the ball and one step ahead. Makes sense. Danny Green, he has unfakeable and lurker. So he, like I said, he's our cover linebacker. So I gave him lurker to get those jumping pick animations, and obviously has unfakeable because, well, he's a great defender, and I felt like putting something different on him. John Wall has running back apprentice and matchup nightmare. Obviously, like I said, he's our receiving back, so it only made sense to put those abilities on him. Nate Robinson, our fullback, armbar, nasty streak. He is our fullback, so I gave him nasty streak because most of the time he's blocking DBs and linebackers. So if he can just stick on the player he blocks, very good thing for the running back that's running behind him. Our armbar, obviously, because he's our little bowling ball, so get that stiff arm animation. Nice abilities there. Kawhi Leonard on the ball, one step ahead. Same thing as Scottie Pippen. Jimmy Butler has acrobat and film study. A very smart player, a very good defensive player. Decided why not give him acrobat and film study. So Zach Randolph, we have stonewall and inside stuff. So when he gets to tackle, he won't give any extra yards. And inside stuff, make sure he sheds that block instantly, so that way he can get the running back before they make a big run. Gary Payton on the ball, one step ahead. There wasn't much interesting abilities I could have really given the corners. I mean, those were probably the best ones, because I want this team to give clamps. Like, I wanted to make sure that nobody did much of anything against us. Steve Nash has precision kicker. Daryl Armstrong has precision kicker as well. Russell Westbrook has reach for it and grab and go. Obviously, he's our electric player. So once he catches it, he's going to be gone. He's going to be able to reach for the first down and the goal line as well. Tony Allen has strip specialist and lumberjack. Obviously, he's our strong safety. He's going to be laying the boom. So I gave him lumberjack and then strip specialist, obviously, because he's a great defensive player. So he'll be able to poke that ball out just like he did in the NBA. Tractor trailer, our guard, natural talent, puller elite. He's probably going to pull a lot because he is a guard. So I had to give him that. Glen Big Baby Davis has inside stuff as well and run stopper. So he's going to be kind of more of a run stopping defensive tackle, obviously, with his abilities. And then Allen Iverson has evasive and grab and go. So obviously a very quick, very shifty player. So I had to give him grab and go as well as evasive because, I mean, one of the best ball handlers, if not the best, in NBA history. So I had to give him good spin and good juke move as well as the grab and go. Draymond Green, lumberjack, strip specialist. I mean, Draymond Green loves using his legs, going for legs anyways. As we've seen, strip specialist, be able to poke that ball out, obviously. Kevin Durant, short end elite, run some short ends, probably his best route. Red zone threat, obviously he's 6'10", makes sense, right? Use that height advantage. Matt Barnes, strip specialist, stonewall, very self-explanatory. Blake Griffin, no outsiders, run stopper. I believe this is all the defensive linemen I've seen. So both of my ends, my right end and my left end, so Ben Wallace and Blake Griffin, both have no outsiders. So if there's an outside run, they'll shed the block very quickly. And then my two defensive tackles, Big Baby Davis and Zach Randolph, have inside stuff. So when there's the inside run, they'll get quick sheds on those, and then obviously my defensive ends will have very quick block sheds against outside runs. So yes, I did want to cheese the system very badly. I don't want the teams to run the ball on us. So he has no outsiders and run stopper. Eddie Curry has all day and nasty streak for our left guard. Patrick Beverly has strip specialist and bench press. I decided to give him something a little different than the rest. And then big country Bryant Reeves, all day and threat detector. He is our center. So I decided to give him threat detector. I thought that would be pretty interesting. So if we ever got to a third or fourth down, we'd be able to see the blitzers, be able to help out the quarterback a little bit. But that is all the abilities. Like I said, if y'all need to go back and look at any of them, you can go back and pause the video and go ahead and look at them. The next video will be the video that we sim the season and see how they do. I think also as well, I'll probably play either the first quarter or the first half of this 49ers game, just to kind of show y'all a little bit of gameplay of how they actually run. I think that would be pretty interesting. And then after I play the first half, I'll probably just sim the rest of the game, and then obviously sim the rest of the season. Look at their stats, see if they can win a Super Bowl. So this should be a very interesting scientific experiment. I know the overalls are really high. Okay, I know they're probably going to be really good, but in the world of simulation on Madden 22, you never know what's gonna happen. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this explanation of this team, and if y'all want to see any more videos like this, go ahead and let me know. Give me any suggestions of things you want me to do. It could be Madden, it could be 2K, it could be FIFA. I mean, whatever you need me to do, or whatever, or not need me to do, but whatever you want to see me do, go ahead and leave that in the comment section. Go ahead and like the video if you did like the video. And yeah, go ahead and subscribe if you're new. Hit that bell icon so that way you don't miss this next episode, to see what the record is, see how they actually do. So without further ado, that is going to be it's going to be this video, and I appreciate you guys so much. With that being said, I am out. Peace.